Welcome to Grasses and Classes, brought to you by the Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance and AmeriCorps Northwest Florida Environmental Stewards. This is Lesson 1, Introduction to Grasses and Classes.
Hello, explorers, and welcome to your first lesson of Grasses and Classes. We are going to learn all about a special type of grass called smooth cordgrass. It also has a scientific name, Spartina alterniflora. Pause the video now and practice those names. Now that we know the name of our grass, let's go see where they live.
Spartina alterniflora is an emergent plant, which means they are rooted in shallow water while their vegetative parts break through the water's surface. We like to say that smooth cordgrass likes to keep their feet wet while their leaves stay dry. These emergent plants live in salt marshes around the Choctawhatchee Bay. We plant them in our living shorelines for 3 main reasons. The first reason is smooth cordgrass provides a habitat for small animals like juvenile fish, crabs, snails, and shrimp. The second reason is smooth cordgrass prevents erosion. Erosion is a gradual wearing away of land surface materials, especially rocks, sediments, and soils, by the action of water, wind, or glaciers. This is a picture of Santa Rosa Beach before Spartina alterniflora was planted. What signs do you see that erosion has occurred? Pause the video now to discuss. The evidence of erosion includes the light post is too close to the water. It does not look sturdy, and we can see a line where the soil used to be. Another sign is the tree roots that should be underground are exposed. The last sign is there is a sudden drop-off in the land instead of having a gradual slope. How do you think our smooth cordgrass helps prevent erosion? Pause the video now to discuss. You can see when I remove the pot from this smooth cordgrass that it has super strong roots that can hold onto the soil. When we plant these grasses along the shoreline, they will help prevent soil from being washed away. Look what happened after students participating in Grasses and Classes planted smooth cordgrass. Now this park has a lot more habitat and a lot less erosion.
The third reason why smooth cordgrass is so important is it filters and absorbs pollution from stormwater runoff. To learn more about that, let's go look at the Enviroscape. This is an Enviroscape. It is a model. A model is a representation of something very large or very small. It allows us to study things we might not normally be able to see. This model is going to represent our watershed. But what is a watershed?
This picture is a map of the Choctawhatchee Bay watershed. A watershed is an area in which all water, sediments, and dissolved materials drain from the land into a common body of water. For us, that common body of water is the Choctawhatchee Bay.
As you can see from the map, our watershed is way too big for us to bring to your classroom. So we're going to use this model to show you how the land all around us can affect the Choctawhatchee Bay.
In our watershed, we have places like neighborhoods, construction sites, roads, and farms. All of these places create pollution that can harm our waterways. Pause the video now to discuss what kinds of pollution can come from each area. To represent all of the pollution in our watershed, I am going to sprinkle Kool-Aid over the Enviroscape. In the neighborhood, there could be chemicals from cleaning supplies, trash, and animal waste. On the roads, we could have gas and oil. At the construction site, there could be loose soil. At the farms, we could have pesticide and fertilizer. We also have the factory. All of the chemicals and byproducts that come from the factory we're going to call sludge, which will be represented by this cocoa powder mixture. This pollution is called point source pollution. This is contamination that comes from a single, clearly identifiable source, such as this factory. We can point to it because we know that's where the pollution came from. Everything else we talked about on the Enviroscape is called non-point source pollution. It's harder to identify where it came from, so we cannot point to it. Now we are going to use a spray bottle to represent rain. As it rains, the water that is not absorbed into the ground but instead flows over the land is called stormwater runoff. As stormwater runoff moves over the land, it picks up the different pollutions. Eventually, all of this water drains to our common point, which is the Choctawhatchee Bay. Does this look like a healthy bay? What do you think we can do? Pause the video now to discuss. Here I have the Enviroscape set up again, but now we have some green felt around our bay to represent smooth cordgrass. We are using Kool-Aid once again to represent all of our non-point source pollutions from our neighborhood, construction site, road, and farm. I have the cocoa powder mix representing our point source pollution coming from the factory. When it rains, stormwater runoff will move over the land and will drain to the bay. But now we have smooth cordgrass. Our grasses will filter and absorb the pollution from the stormwater runoff, resulting in a much healthier bay.
Now that we know why smooth cordgrass is important, let's learn about why we are growing them in these salt marsh nurseries. We keep our smooth cordgrass in these salt marsh nurseries filled with water because remember earlier we called them emergent plants. That means their leaves like to be out of the water while their roots like to stay in the water. But this isn't just any water, this is a special kind of water called brackish.
Brackish water is a mixture of fresh water and salt water. Where do you think the fresh water and salt water comes from for the Choctawhatchee Bay? Pause the video now to discuss. The Choctawhatchee Bay gets most of its fresh water from the Choctawhatchee River and lots of creeks, including Turkey Creek, Rocky Creek, and Aliqua Creek. Our salt water comes from the Gulf of Mexico, which enters the bay through the Destin Pass.
So how can we tell if this is fresh water, brackish water, or salt water? We have to look at the salinity, which is the amount of salt in water. But looking at these three jars, can you tell them apart? No, we have to use a special tool called a refractometer. The refractometer measures the salinity or amount of salt in the water. To use the refractometer, you're going to lift up your cover, take your pipette, and get water from the source you want to measure, and put 2 drops on your blue slide. Then you will gently close your slide until the water spreads out. Make sure you keep it level. If you tilt it down or to the side, your water will fall out. Then hold it up to your eye like this and point it towards a light source. So that will either be the sun or the lights in your classroom. And then you can see what's inside.
When we look in the refractometer, we will see a screen that looks like this. Where the blue meets the white is our salinity, or amount of salt, reading. We are looking at the numbers on the right. These numbers are measuring the salinity in ppt, or parts per thousand. In this picture, the reading is 0. 0 to 0.5 ppt means there is no salt in the water, so it is fresh water. For this picture, the blue and white are meeting at 15, which means it is brackish. Brackish water can be anywhere from 0.5 to 30 ppt.
Our smooth cordgrass likes to live in salinity that's between 10 and 20 ppt. But what if the water's too fresh or too salty? What should you do? Pause the video now to discuss.
If our salinity is too high, then we can add fresh water to lower it. This can be done with our garden hose. Rain also adds fresh water to our nurseries. After it rains, our salinity will be lowered. We use pool salt to make our water brackish in the salt marsh nurseries. If the salinity is too low, then we just need to add more salt.
For today's activity, we are going to measure the salinity in these 3 bottles of water. Remember, to do that, we need to use a refractometer. So first, we are going to measure the green bottle of water. Go ahead and have someone take the top off of that water. Then someone can use their pipette to collect the water. Then we need to open the cover of our refractometer and put 2 or 3 drops of water on our blue slide. Then you can empty your pipette. We will gently close the cover onto our slide. Make sure the water spreads out. Remember to hold it flat so that the water does not fall out. And then you can look through. Pause the video now so that everyone can look at the refractometer. You should have seen something like this circle over here. It should have been somewhere around 15 ppt, which is brackish water. Remember, brackish water is anywhere from 0.5 ppt to 30 ppt. Now we are going to measure the red bottle of water. Go ahead and remove that top and use the refractometer like you did for the first bottle. You should have seen something like this circle. It was above 30 ppt, so it was salt water. Salt water is anywhere from 30 to 50 ppt. Now we are going to look at the blue bottle of water. Remove that lid and use the refractometer like we did the 2 times before. You should have seen something like this circle. It was at 0 ppt, so it was fresh water. Now that we're done with our activity, let's look at the questions in your student folder. Well, explorers, I hope you had fun with your first lesson of grasses and classes. Until next time, keep exploring.